The woman just wanted to wipe the dust off the mirror. But to her horror, she discovered that the figure in the portrait behind her had moved eerily, but when she turned to look, the portrait appeared perfectly normal. At first, she thought she must have been seeing things. After all, how could a portrait possibly move? There was also a strange portrait hanging in her eldest daughter's room. The man in the painting held a comb in his left hand and scissors in his right. Ever since moving into this new home, the more Janice looked at the portrait, the more unsettling it felt. So she decided to take the painting down. But strangely, the painting seemed to have fused with the wall. No matter how hard she pulled, she couldn't get it off. Seeing this, Janice had no choice but to give up. When night fell, just as Janice was drifting off to sleep, a strange sound echoed around her. Immediately afterward, her hair was inexplicably cut off. When she woke up the next morning, she discovered that her once neat and silky hair had been cut into a messy, disheveled state. She instinctively suspected her mischievous younger sister was responsible. Furious, she stormed into her sister's room to confront her. Just then, their mother rushed in upon hearing the commotion and asked her eldest daughter what had happened.
What you did to my hair?
But her younger sister was completely baffled, her face radiating innocence. She explained that she had been sleeping in her own room all night and hadn't set foot in her sister's room at all. Yet Janice was convinced her sister was lying and spent the entire day fuming over it. However, just as she finished her evening routine and was getting ready for bed, she faintly heard the sound of scissors in the air. Since her hair had been mysteriously cut the night before, the more she looked at the portrait on the wall, the more uneasy she felt, so she hurriedly grabbed a white cloth to cover it up, hoping to ease her anxiety. As midnight approached, a sinister hand suddenly reached out from behind the white cloth and began cutting her hair again. Just as Janice was about to wake up, the hand quickly retreated back behind the cloth. When Janice woke up and saw that her hair had been cut again, she assumed her younger sister was behind it and immediately set out to confront the culprit. But she soon realized something was wrong. It was the middle of the night. How could her sister possibly be in her room this late? Just as she was puzzling over this, she turned around and was horrified to discover that the white cloth in front of the portrait was mysteriously fluttering, as if someone were standing behind it. This eerie scene instantly terrified Janice, so she hid inside a nearby closet. But when the white cloth fell to the ground, there was nothing there at all. Even stranger, the man in the portrait had vanished as well. Before she could even process what was happening, she heard the sound of scissors behind her. Hearing her cries for help, her parents rushed to Janice's room. Only then did the figure behind her finally let Janice go. But by this point, Janice was terrified out of her wits. When her parents asked what had happened, she pointed tremblingly at the portrait on the wall and cried out that the man in the painting had come out. Seeing how terrified his daughter looked, she didn't seem to be lying. Her father decided to take down the eerie portrait first, but to his surprise, the painting seemed to have taken root in the wall. No matter what he tried, he couldn't pry it loose. Left with no choice, her father called his son for help. With the combined strength of the two burly men, they finally managed to pry the painting off the wall with great difficulty. She had thought the eerie incident would end there. But when she woke up the next morning, Evelyn saw her younger daughter running toward the cellar. Just as she was about to follow to see what she was up to, she suddenly realized her younger daughter was calling out to her from outside. This moment sent a chill down her spine. If her youngest daughter was outside, then who was the one who had just run into the cellar? So, steeled with resolve, she opened the cellar door.
Who's down there?
But there was no response from below. When evening came, she told her husband about the strange occurrence. She believed that this newly purchased house might be haunted, but her husband dismissed her concerns. He immediately dismissed it as a figment of her imagination. After hearing her husband's reassurances, Evelyn, too, began to think she was being overly sensitive. As the night wore on, Evelyn, who had been fast asleep, was suddenly awakened by a noise. At first, she thought a burglar had broken in, but when she stepped out of her room, she witnessed a scene she would never forget.